What's up? What's up? How about a little thank you? Thank you. C10 Nation, thank you. 6 years and what a ride. It's been a great ride, a lot of fun. I thought I'd just throw a quick thank you out there for everyone. I thought about dropping it yesterday, but I got busy and just figured I still should put it out there to you guys. I got busy reading off all these Q&As that I put out, which was super cool. I enjoyed it, actually. So I will read some of those off. I assume some of the listeners don't all have social or IG, so I'll read some of those off, or most of them, because I didn't really filter through anything. But, I just wanted to say thank you, from the bottom of my heart. I think by now, if you listen for any time frame, that, I don't take this lightly. I have a great time behind the mic. I enjoy it thoroughly, and I enjoy bringing you, a new guest every week, every other week, and just kind of that connection for the C10 community. I think what we've done here, and when I say we, it is me and the support of, everybody around me that helps me, especially my wife, but it's you. It's the listener. Without the listener, we wouldn't have what we have. And I do not take that for granted. That's the biggest thing. Without the community, the C10 Nation, the family, the shows, and what we've been able to do, it's humbling. It's gratifying. It's a shit ton of fun for me. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the place that we're in with C10 Talk. And sure, I'd love to keep growing, but we're spoiled. We've got the C10 community is, man, people just look at us and are like, wow, you guys have a lot of interaction, a lot of trucks, a lot of shows, a lot of aftermarket support. Again, I don't take that for granted as well. We're lucky, we're blessed, and we're fortunate to be part of something bigger. And you think about like the 70s or the 80s and some of the different shows. I do think some of the mini truck stuff, some of the CKOBS stuff back in the day, was up there. But I think for what we've been able to do with the pod, the social media interaction is really something special. So I think another thing too is just the way the C10 Club and the way John Orrell has kind of put that out to everybody, each state. If you get the right guy or right group of people, you guys have managed to put together some pretty cool stuff out there too, to really help bring the community together. And that's a big part of it. So thank you so much for the support. At one point, I think I put out 7 years, and that's actually hilarious because it's not that I really think we're doing it 7 years. What happens is when I do a pod, I have to write down, or I have to, type in what year it is. So now, as of today, it's the 7th year. So we start the 7th year, but yeah, 6 years is actually what it is. But maybe it feels like 7 years. It doesn't to me, but I can't believe it's been 6 years. And who would have thought? I don't know that, one of the questions was like, do you ever think that you would get to this point? I don't know what I thought. I just knew that I liked podcasts. I knew that we had an amazing community right here in River City and Phoenix. And then obviously some of the guys that I knew in Cali, and then some of the forum stuff as well. And so I kind of just thought, man, there's so much more, to the story than just what we see in the print and on the forums. And now we're able to bring that to you in a greater capacity through the pod and through social media. So I think social media is a big help with the YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook, everything that we have out there. It's a big help to put not only the voice of C10 Talk, but just the community as a whole. So thank you guys so much for the support, the continued supports, the sharing of the pod, the rating, the reviewing, all the stuff that really helps C10 Talk. And let's be honest, the sponsors. I mean, the sponsors have gotten on board at the beginning. Some of them were like, really, what is this? And now they know. They know that we're here to deliver and the community's behind it. So big shout out. We've lost a few, AccuAir, RIP. Precision Replacement Parts was with us for a while. Frontier Shop Supply. So thank you to all of them, whether you're still with us or not. But CPP's been, long haul, AZ Pro, Brothers Trucks from the very beginning, Marquet, Painless Wiring, Vintage Air, United Pacific, And the list goes on. A lot of people behind us. C10 Nation Day, Royal Purple has been behind us from the SEMA perspective. We won't have it this year, and then United Pacific and that's a fun kind of day that we do as well. So just a lot of really good things. I just wanted to say thank you. We couldn't do it without your support, you listening, you tuning in and making it all possible. And another thing that's going on with the pod is there's some expansion. So if I've mentioned it, you've heard it, but C10 Talk now will become part of an umbrella or under an umbrella, I should say, that is Truck Talk Media. So Truck Talk Media is now C10 Talk, OBS Talk, F100 Talk, and where that kind of comes from is Devin started F100 Nation podcast, and then we kind of took it in an umbrella of the Truck Talk Media. So you got Devin and Solomon, F100 Talk, D100 Talk, which is, all the Dodge stuff. So we've got Slick Napier, Andrew, down in Tucson, firefighter down there, loves them swept lines, and then teamed him up with Umberto Vulcan, and they're kicking ass as well. So we've got Dodge 100, D100, F100, OBS, C10, and then we're going to start Bronco Talk. So the Bronco one should be interesting because, there's a lot of generations in there. That one will start, the first episode technically will drop Monday. And then one more trying to get in there before the end of the year is going to be called Pro Touring Talk. So those will all be under the umbrella of Truck Talk Media. Do I envision much more than that right now? No, it's already a lot, but it's going well. It's fun. What's the thought behind it is just how much I enjoy sitting behind the mic and spreading the word and the story and the history and the adventure of everything that we've been able to do here for almost 200 episodes and give that to the community. I think that, that's a powerful thing. And I want to share that with all communities. And I just got back from a Bronco event about 2 weeks ago. And that's where, I recorded a ton of content for that first episode that will drop Monday. Dude, it's awesome. I mean, it's just like the same thing, really, you've got great people, awesome rides, and the community, and they get together, they talk, they break bread, they follow each other on social, and it's a powerful thing. And so that's a fun one. Now, I'm not going to be the host of Bronco Talk. It just happens that right now I don't really have 1, 2, 3 guys to sit behind the mic. And so I'm kind of getting it going. Whereas with the other ones, Slick had already hit me up about D100. The F100 one was already kind of established. I established OBS Talk and then found Mark and Travis. So this is one of those ones where I'm going to get it going and then we'll find some bodies to put behind the mic. I've got a few guys lined up, but I don't know that they're quite ready yet either. So we'll kind of see. That's been kind of the fun part, is finding the bodies to put behind the mic and then getting them to where they feel good about being behind the mic. They can handle being behind the mic, so on and so forth. So am I going to not be behind the mic for C10 Talk? I don't see that happening. Would I be open to somebody helping out and doing possibly like a guest host every now and then? I would. It would just take the right person. Sam's going to jump on board and do, right now he has about a 4, maybe 5 episode thing that he's putting together. I thought it would be ready. Sam recorded it, but I think he wanted to change a few things. The audio was great. Everything, I was like, dude, we're ready to rock. And he goes, nah, I want to change a few things up. So I think what kind of happened was he envisioned that it would be more than just 2, 3, 4 pods, and he wanted to add the 5th. And so he's going to redo some of that. What he's told me at this point, and I hate to build something up that maybe I don't even really know that much about, but when I have talked to him, it's going to be killer. And Sam doesn't really mess around. He doesn't do things half-assed. So I think it's going to be good. So we'll see where that'll plug in. That's what I got. I mean, I thought it was going to be episode 196, but it just didn't work out. 196 is going to be Kevin Whips. We're going to sit down with Kevin, no stranger to the pod. He's been on a few times, but he put out a book. It's actually been a little while. I've been trying to get him fit in, and how to restore your Chevy truck 67 through 72. So that will be a fun one, and that will be next week, episode 196. So that will come out. So Sam's still working on his thing. We've got 196 scheduled, and I will keep you, up to speed on what's going on with the Get Down as soon as I hear. We still got the North Carolina C10 Revival, Fall Revival. That's on the 24th of October. And then the Get Down 13th and 14th in Glendale. Last I heard, they were waiting on their permit. And I need to touch base with Dino and Krista. I get a lot of people text me, and that's what I know as of right now. I will let you know as soon as I hear. Literally, as soon as we hear, we probably have like 10, 15, 20 different social media, Instagram outlets that we're all going to be putting it out. But people will say, well, what's the percentage? In my mind, it's 70-30. It's 70-30. Get your hotel. You can always cancel it if something happens. But we've been telling Dino, dude, go the whole time. Let's see what happens. And, obviously, we're still 2 months out, 6 weeks out. So we still got time. Let's see what happens. I think 75-25. Let's go there. All right. I'll let you know. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. Trick Manufacturing, the Altman door latches. I forgot to say that they were going to do a 15% off. So if you use C10 Talk, code C10 Talk, you get 15% off those door latches. That was something that Chris had said to me, and I just forgot, and I wrote it down, but then I forgot to say it on my pre-show interview or pre-show segment for that product pod. Hopefully you like that product pod. I mean, I do. I like listening to all that. I got a lot of like, the gunny wheel or it's too much money. It's like, or the Goonie wheel, I should say. The Goonie wheel is too much money. Dude, you don't have to buy it. I'm just here to tell you that this is what's out there. You know what I mean? So cool stuff. It's out there. Buy it if you like it. That's it. It's easy. So hopefully you guys like that. Let me know. Went through Truck Talk Media, so you kind of know about that. 15% off. Trick Altman door latches, 15% off. Don't forget about using C10 Talk if you want to get that Truck Hub or that Wheel Hub magazine. I mean, I'm still telling you guys about that because it's a rad magazine. The first one's out, and the second one should be out pretty soon. Kevin Whips is up next, and that's the thank you. So let me read through some of these. Some of you guys might see it on social. Some of you might not. I just worked through and put it on my history on C10 Talk, but I'll go through a few of these. And actually, I think there's like 40 of them. We'll see here. So how do you create engaging audience? I put great passion. If you have passion, it doesn't matter. I mean, you got passion for anything. It's, that's what it's all about. Whether it's hunting, fishing, firefighting, podcasting, Chevy trucking, it doesn't matter. Baking, cleaning, it doesn't matter. You got passion, let it run wild, man. Don't hold it back. Passion's it's it, man. I love passion. Next one. How long did it take you to grow that sweet stash? Definitely got some stash comments. That's kind of funny, but some sardine oil and whatever else happens. I ate all my vegetables and grew hair on my face, but I'm about 6 weeks. 6 weeks on the stash. I'm not thinking it's staying around. If you see it at the Get Down, I'll be surprised. I'll be very surprised, but I don't think my wife's the biggest fan of the stash. Next, not a cue, just proud of you. That's from Vulcan, I think. Thank you so much. How do you come up with all the great content? So my answer was, it might sound corny. I just ask myself, what would I want to hear about, learn, or know about? Then from there, I start the process. That's really it. I mean, you look at like whether something comes across on a magazine, I see a picture, social media, however I'm exposed to something, maybe some tech, maybe something happens when I'm up at one of the shops and I think, oh man, the audience would love to know about that. That's really it. It's kind of from the hip, to be honest with you. What's the best show been? So I took this as what is the best truck show? Maybe they meant episode show, but I took it as truck show, and I put LST starts the year off right. It speaks to the 20s version of me, which is, we kind of do the eastbound and down, so it's already a fun adventure. And Lonnie and Radar and Jared and the crew over there at LST, they do an amazing job. If the weather cooperates, LST it's the bee's knees. It's just whether or not the weather is going to cooperate. It's a great show. I love it. 10 years coming up, 2021, and their 10-year anniversary. So we will be doing Eastbound and Down one more time. I'm going to do it one more time, and then I don't know that I'm going to keep doing it. C10s in the Park is like visiting your favorite cousin. That's a fun show in Texas as well. The ones you camped with, got into a lot of trouble with, without a doubt. Family fun atmosphere. And then to end it all off, Dino's class reunion and family reunion in one. Especially like the family that you haven't seen that you really like. Your cool uncle, your cool cousins. And then some of that class reunion, some of the buddies that you might have got into trouble with in 8th, 9th, and maybe you faded away. That's what I love about the Get Down. So LST, C10s, and the get down. How were you able to cultivate such a sweet stash? Again, what is the most popular episode? So this is a two-parter, and the way I wrote it was Mike Finnegan. So back in 2018, Lipson, who distributes the pod, they changed up their analytics. So pre-18, analytics show Mike Finnegan, and then after that, it changed things up is Aaron Kaufman, Arclight. Okay, so that's the deal on that one. Were you always a Cowboys fan? So somebody's insinuating the Dallas Cowboys, which I don't like the Cowboys at all. So I wrote the Oklahoma Cowboys. Who's the dumbest bald guy you ever met? That's Stickle trying to be funny, but he's a sexy little beast. What did you have before Yellowstone? So I had Picacho, and that was a 1968 C10. Flew to NorCal, picked it up, 3 on the tree, 307, drove it home all the way to AZ. Had one little issue with the distributor, and it might actually be, it was the distributor. And dude, loved it, and did a few things, Porterbuilt, and then set it free. Now that would be pre-Instagram days, because it's like, well, you kind of have the Instagram era. That was more of a forum build, and that was Picacho, my 1968 C10. I still own my first C10, which is a 1972 Cheyenne AC. We've got orange and white, of course, and I bought it from the original owner, and I still got it. And one of these days I'll get off my butt and put it to the forefront on the build process. That will be a fun one. I do not plan on ever selling that truck. Favorite guest, Paul Hitch, without a doubt. To capture that history, not once, but twice, and create a friendship with Paul was something very, very rewarding and very special to me. And I'm very glad that I was able to interview Paul and bring Paul to you. And that's why I'm always yelling and barking and saying, dude, get me some of this history. If you've got history, freaking give it to me, and I will reach out and I will interview them, because it's harder and harder to come by. What is your favorite episode? Although Paul Hitch was my favorite guest, I'd say my favorite episode would be episode 63. And the reason why I chose that episode was that was our first year that John Oro, Chad Cagoose, G Breezy, Grinder was with us, and Jason Big Ten Bowman was in his truck, and we all went out to Eastbound and Down to the Throwdown, and we had a blast, and we made it. And we made it in Yellowstone with the big camper. So it was one of those things where you're just dumb enough to think you can do it, and then you do it. And, we had a little issue. Kaufman helped us out, which was even, added to the story. And we just had a really good time. And when you do that, you go through that adventure, you have a different bond with your friends that you go with, little AKA Stand By Me, for you guys that are my age and have watched it. But and then you make it home, and we made it home, and I'll never forget the adventure, the journey, and coming home at like 7 a.m, and the sun's coming up, and we're like an hour away from home, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna make this. We're gonna make it, driving a big block crew cab, slammed camper, turbo 400, screaming at 31, 32, 3,300 RPM, getting 7.5 to 8 miles a gallon. We did it. And so that was a fun episode, just because you got to kind of capture all that. What was your motivation to start C10 Talk? Really just the pod, the people, kind of like what I said. How do you stay so sexy? I don't even know who would have wrote that one. That might have been, with C10 Sales. So eat sardines, a lot of mustache wax, sip some whiskey, and most important, consume a lot of C10 Sales. Who doesn't, right? It's fun to see what everything's going for. So that's my boy Cougar. What's your favorite interview? Paul Hitch again. And then I added that I really like doing the Richard Rawlings one, because I think with Richard, everybody just thinks Richard's such a slime ball, but he does a lot of that for TV, and he was really authentic and down to earth, and I had a great time interviewing him, and I enjoyed it. So that was a fun one. Out of all your episodes, besides Paul Hitch, which is your favorite? And that was what, kind of that Texas trip. And then the second one, a lot the same, would be the Orange Slice, when Metalox, myself, Kyle, and Metalox met up with Digital C10, Kevin Stickle, and we went and picked up Orange Slice in Montana and then drove it home. That was a fun. That's 3 dudes, 1 truck. Is it crazy to think about how much you have influenced and inspired people? So this one is one of those ones where you're like, hey, I'm just, kind of sitting in the chair. Do I sit here and think I'm influencing people? I think I'm just trying to bring you a powerful story and, be the medium for that. What I wrote is, I am just a guy that is inspired by the community, that loves sharing the story, the experience, and the journey. So it's the same thing. The community inspires me just as much as I may inspire the community. I hope when we are 70 plus, we can look back and say, man, the C10 movement was an awesome time. And it already has been, right? It's been a great, amazing, fun time, and it will continue to be that way. Remember, it's the people of the C10 Nation that make this community not just 5 to 10 guys. It's a nation of rad people, and that's what it's all about, is the people. Love the pod, but you leave us hanging for too long. Keep them coming. I was like, dude, really? So we're banging out 3, sometimes 4 a month. So that's all I got, bro. What year of C10 do you prefer? That's a good one. So I'm a 67 to 72 guy at heart, without a doubt. When I grew up, we were around squares all the time. We had squares at my house. We owned a Blazer. We owned a truck. And my buddies, my dad's buddies all had square bodies, without a doubt. I can remember them like nobody's business. So I don't know why I became such a 67 to 72 guy, really a 71, 72. And of those two, just a 72 guy. And then it cycled. And then I became, I really like the 68. And right now, out of the 67 to 72, of all things, I think the 69 to 70 is really rad. I just dig it. And so it's kind of funny how maybe we just see so much of one thing. 15, 20 years ago, we saw so much 71, 72 stuff that we're like, ooh, maybe the 68. Believe it or not, there was a time where the 71, 72 was the most popular out of the second gen C10s. I would still say now it's 67, 68. And I think 69 and 70, although they may be more of the redheaded stepchild of the three, I think they're pretty popular right now. I think they're hot. So it cycles. Square bodies. Like I said, I was around them all the time. So it wasn't something that I was just super desired. But as of right now, currently, I'm loving the squares. I'm loving the Blazers. I'm loving the trucks, the crew cabs, orange slice, obviously. So if you had to ask me from that perspective of the C10s, the square bodies are my favorite right now. But I know in my heart and deep in my bones, 67 to 72, my 72, I've got a 72 shorty. I've got a 72 3/4 ton K20. And I do not plan to sell either one of those. The K20 was my wife's grandpa's. So I don't plan on selling any one of those. I'm not saying I'm not going to sell some other stuff like a square or something like that. I don't plan on selling my 74 Blazer either. We had a 74 as a kid. I'm calling it Bonanza. It's at the shop right now, and we're working through some stuff on some rust and body work, and Matador's got it. So I got some big plans for that truck or that Blazer, but we'll see. Okay. Obviously, you could tell I'm not a big 60 to 66 guy. I love them, but it's not something that if I had to grab a C10, it's not going to be my first choice. Now, my son's got a 66 and he prefers that style. So that's cool. But for me, 67, 72 at heart, and then loving some squares too. And even though we're talking about C10s, I've got an OBS as well. CKs are hot. Love them. Grew up with them. So we're lucky because we got a lot of rad shit. Who have you met that owns or has owned the most C10s? So I just said C10 King, but he owns them and then gets rid of them, and then Big Fish keeps them. What's the weirdest C10 you kind of learned about? Just once we went to Canada, all their metric system on the side was pretty cool. So like the 910. Did you think enough people would listen? Just the only thing I said there is I remember talking to Dino and it being like, dude, if we get 500 listens on this thing, it's going to be crazy, and 10,000 listens later, episode 1 and whatever it is. And, but I didn't go into it thinking I've got to have 1 million listens. And I think I posted it. It's been a while ago, but we had 1 million downloads at one point. So will we hit 2 million? Sure. But that wasn't what that's not what I was thinking when I went in. What will you build next? I think I just said my Blazers and getting worked on right now. The 74, the Bonanza Blazer. What's your most embarrassing moment? For that one, that was just the first time when I went and recorded with Dino, which is coming up on 6 years ago. The recorder, the computer, the laptop shut off because it went to sleep. When it did, it was a USB mic, and the mic had no power, and the recorder looked like it was working, but when I got home, I had like 6 minutes of audio. So that sucked, but we made it happen. Dino was the man, said, get your ass back here. Let's do it. And that just shows you the type of guy that he is. Guest 1 and guest 100. Which is your personal favorite episode and why? Yeah. Kind of hit that already with Paul and everything else. Who's been the funnest to interview? So I wrote on this one, Sam. Usually if Sam and I are in the same room together, we can be talking, yelling, and laughing all at the same time, without a doubt. Digital C10, Kevin Stickle. If Stickle and I are consuming barley pops, it can be pretty funny, which, dude, half the time I'm laughing at his ass. And then 2 guys that you can be sober, you can be not sober, you can be just hanging out, and that's Johnny Oro and Todd, T-O-double-D, Big Fish, who just crack me up just the way that they are and when they say certain things, and you're just, they're funny and they're not even trying to be funny, and they're just who they are. So then, let's see, 7 years, no way. This was from Metalox, and I wrote, might be 6. Because I messed up on that. So that was kind of funny. Probably more funny to me than you guys. What made you want to start it? And what names didn't make the cut? I don't know that I knew what names, like what made me start it was just, like I said, the community and the love for the pod and, just bringing the community together and more behind the truck, the story. Has there been names where people who wanted to be on the pod? The ones that come to mind were, there was a few guys where I had them locked and loaded and just never got to them. And then it became like too late. So someday I've even said, I want to do like a quick 20 to 30 minutes with each one of those guys or whatever. And then put them all in one episode, the Left Behind episode or something like that. But we're lucky because we have so much content that I can keep it cranking. What's your favorite show to go? What person are you still chasing? Or the way I answered it was a show to do with somebody. And what I was saying is if somebody hits a milestone, they drive their truck 500,000 miles, they drive their truck across, the country, or somebody accomplishes a build, a SEMA build, a truck show build, an award, something like that, where somebody else has a moment and then we get to share that moment with them and then bring it to you. That's always the funnest thing. Just because you get to be part of it and then I get to bring that part to you. So that's probably even more satisfying for the guest because then the guest gets to share it with the nation. Hopefully that makes sense. Chasing, I just wrote, I don't know that I've really chased. There's been some big names. I mean, obviously Chip Foose. I've reached out to Chip Foose. Who else have I texted or DM'd and said, I really want to get somebody on? There's a few, but they might be more of a heavy hitter, but then again, I try to think, does the guest really, or the audience, I should say, really, really, really want to hear from that person? So if the audience is like, dude, I get 1,000 emails and texts that says, I want to hear from Chip Foose, I will do everything in my power to make that happen. It's just the history is the ones that I really want to get because just like Paul, Paul passed away earlier this year. We were able to get it. It's fun. So factory workers, history, anything with these trucks, it's a good time. What is the most rewarding thing that you have gotten? I just wrote friends, the community, just the community itself. What keeps you motivated to keep this community grow? It's a cycle, really. If you build it, they will come. Well, the community keeps me motivated. Rad rides, amazing people, the best shows. That was supposed to be shows. I wrote shoes. The best shows, events. We are truly lucky, and I think we are. Is it lonely at the top? That's Brad. He's being a cornhead. Do you miss the simple build style of the trucks from 7 years ago like I do? I didn't really respond that I did. I don't mind the builds. I think the technology is there. I don't think people are carving and cutting the metal. I'm more of a purist when it comes to the look and the style. Sure, we can richen up the old G style or the old look, but I'm digging the way that the builds are. Do you regret selling Yellowstone? Nope, not at all. Loved it, and it was a great truck, but I was ready to move on without a doubt. I'm glad that the truck is having another life somewhere else. I've talked to the owner quite a bit, and without a doubt, no problem. Remember, it's a crew cab long bed with a big-ass camper on it, so it wasn't like it was the super, a little Yugo that I could whip around. It was a big-ass beast, and if I had a humongous shop with covered parking, sure, I would love to throw it in the corner and, but you need the money, you need the space, and you move on to the next one. And without a doubt, the truck served me, my friends, my journey so well and had a vision. Some people said, you're crazy. And sure enough, I was crazy enough to do it with help of friends, and we made it happen. And it was awesome. So not at all. Who's going to be your 200th guest? I don't know. I really don't at this point. Now, it's not that far away, so I need to start thinking about it. I had Dino on as number 1, so I brought him back as 200. The only problem about episode 200 is that I did just say I brought him in as 100. Yeah, so I had him as 1 and 100. And so the problem with 200 is it is right before the get down. So I don't know that Dino's going to be the greatest fit there because it's right before the get down. So we'll see. I'd like to get like 4 or 5 guys, we all get together. So maybe we all come in for the get down and we do a little shit show here or something. But we'll see. I don't have an answer for that one. Did you ever imagine it would be such a hit? I'd say nah. Truck Talk Empire, not yet. But so that's just talking about Truck Talk Media, that we're getting bigger and bigger, and we are. It's growing, and we're just trying to bring more people, more stories. If you've got a friend that's got a Ford, tell them about F100. If you've got a friend that's got a OBS, tell them about OBS. If you've got a friend that's got a Dodge, tell them. Bronco, tell them. Please help us out. We're working hard. That's one thing that's pretty kind of adds to it, to be honest with you, is when you start a new pod 6-7 years later, it's not as easy. And when I say that, it's not that it was easy to start the pod, but the learning curve of what to do back then, now I know how to do it, create it, but there's a lot of pod out there. So now the hard part becomes growing the social and growing the pod and growing the listens. That's the tough part, So I find that out every day when we drop a Dodge one or a Ford one or the Bronco one or whatever it is. It's not the same. It's not the same as C10 Talk where, the first day there's 2,500 listens. And then, you drop a Dodge one and we're getting like 40 listens on the first day. Now it's growing. Everything is growing, but it's just not the same. So that's kind of it. What it does is it says, don't forget where you came from. And that's where we came from. When I was telling Dino 500 listens over a few months or whatever it was. And then you guys figured it out and we grew the community and the community started listening. So we're just trying to build that same thing with the other venues. So support Truck Talk Media. If you want to listen to some really cool stories, jump onto one of those other pods and help us out. But if you got somebody that likes Fords or Broncos or Dodges or OBSs, just let them know. We appreciate it. What was your most memorable interview? I put my first, really just because it was Dino and the way it went. And I knew Dino at the time, but were we as close as we are now? No way. And then the fifth one, which was Renee was just like Dino, C10 King. He's like, what the hell is this thing? And then he's like, nope, we're doing it. He did not want to do it over the phone. Whereas I was like, no, we'll do it over the phone. He's like, nope, we're doing it. So we were at the get down, and I think it was the Saturday, right? So the get down's on Friday. Saturday night, we go to a hotel room. I brought all my gear, set it up. Boom. Episode 5, Renee, C10 King. What is your ideal truck to build as a keeper? So my answer, a family hand-me-down, or your first, to each their own. So really, everybody doesn't have a family hand-me-down or a first truck or their first, right? So whatever it is, just build whatever you want, find it, but just get after it. Get passionate. Favorite C10, C20, C30 you've owned. That's like picking your favorite child. They are all special in my heart. So yeah, I've kept my first one. It's just an orange and white shorty. You guys have seen thousands of them. And Picacho. I've had Suburbans. I've had some Blazers. And then we've got Picacho. So I would say completed builds. Something that is complete and show worthy, magazine worthy, picture worthy to hang on the wall, whatever. Picacho, my 1968. And then Yellowstone, then Orange Slice. And, I don't even know what I call my 72, the orange and white one. I think I just call it Bonita because it was actually bought originally by a female, and her name was Bonita. And that means like pretty, right? Or beautiful. So I always thought that was a cool name and kind of tribute to her. Bonita. I guess that's what I'm going to call it. And I kind of have already called it that, but is it fun interviewing famous people in the C10 world or the lesser known people? So I just said, I love this question. Honestly, famous people usually end up being just like the lesser known when it comes down to why they like old trucks and old metal, just like all of us. I was able to interview the Ring brothers at SEMA a few times, and honestly, they were as normal and grounded as the next guy. So really, when it comes down to it, it's kind of the great equalizer, right? You start talking about metal and passion and patina and these parts and this parts. Everybody is a truck car enthusiast that's tuned in, and when you're interviewing those guys, it's a lot of fun because, you know, it's kind of that great equalizer where you come together and you have that in common. So that was it. I don't know. I think it was like 40 of them, and it was a lot of fun. So thanks for listening to me yap about those. You might have saw them online. If you did, cool. If you didn't, then I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Every single person who tunes in once, twice, 200 times. Some people have listened to episodes over and over. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, and thank you for all the continued support. When you buy a sticker, when you buy a hat, when you buy a shirt, whatever it is, you tune in. We couldn't do it without you, and I mean that with all my heart. So next week you're gonna have Kevin Whips with his talk about his book, How to Restore 67 to 72. I do have some appearances in that book, at least my trucks do, because I like helping Kevin, because he's all about, you know, creating this content and this literature for you guys, and I think it's pretty rad. Speaking of gear, we did ship out the new long bed, Keep the Long Beds Long shirts, so those will be coming your way, and we've got them in stock as well. So we got the new OBS Talk, OBS Heartbeat, and the long bed shirts in. So if you need something, let us know. You can get online at c10nation.com. Things will start to shift over. That is one thing I should mention. Instead of Ronnie at C10 Talk, I've already created it, but it's Ronnie at Truck Talk Media. So that will switch over. So you will start to see more Truck Talk Media instead of just C10 Talk, because it's under the umbrella. All right. I've been yapping long enough for this episode. Just a thank you. Shout out to all of you guys. I appreciate it. Please, if you haven't, that means a lot. You know, I'm always asking, just leave us a review, follow us on social media, share the pod, check out some of those other pod, and that's it. You know how to get a hold of me. You know how to listen. You know how to do all that, because you wouldn't be tuned in if you didn't. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll be back with Kevin next week. Stay out of trouble. Do what you do. Late.